Hey guys, welcome to the channel and Guten Tag, Privet, Bonjour, Hola, and Ciao to my foreign audience there. And today we're going to be talking about how to value a knife. So one of the top three questions that guys ask when they get a knife like this is how much is it worth? And so there's a short answer and a long answer to that. And the short answer, and I'm not trying to be condescending or trite here, but they're they're worth what somebody is willing to pay for them, and I'll explain that later in the video. The long answer is there is a value assigned to these knives, and it's kind of complicated to figure that out. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in the upcoming video. And so the first thing is there's a couple of values assigned to these knives. One is the intrinsic value, and that's the value of the knife based upon what it costs to produce the knife. And we usually don't get involved with that or don't have to pay that. The second one is market value. And so the market value of a knife is based upon what a manufacturer thinks that they can sell this knife for. And so that usually involves a low and a high, let's say $40 to $100. And anywhere within that, you could either buy it or sell the knife for that value. And that value, that market value, fluctuates and depends on a lot of different factors that we're going to discuss in a minute. And so the third value is collector value. And collector value is the value that collectors are willing to pay for the knife. And this is the most volatile and unpredictable of the values. And so if this knife was worth $50 to $100, say, on any given day you could go into the market and you can buy it for that. But once a collector gets involved, say he needs this knife to fill his collection, then he's willing to pay pretty much whatever it takes to get the knife. And so he might pay $180 for this knife, and it just wreaks havoc with regular collectors who are just out there trying to acquire a knife, a cool knife. And so collector value, there's just no real way to measure that. I've seen knives. One time I saw this knife, it should have gone for $80 to $100, and instead it went for $258. And I've seen the reverse too. So I've also seen knives that should have gone for a really good price go for around 40 because nobody wanted to buy it. And so they fluctuate like that. But let's talk about how value is assigned to a knife. And so there's some factors that make up what makes this valuable. Now, one is the brand, the condition, the age of the knife, which is closely related to the scarcity of the knife, how rare that knife is. The scales can make a difference in the knife. So the pattern can make a difference in the knife. All of these factor in to create demand for the knife. And so generally pen knives like this is a little pen knife, go for less than a larger jackknife like this. This is a 4-inch slim single blade jack. And so together, people pay more for these than they do for these. And so generally that's the way it goes with pricing on the knives. So of the things we talked about, the brand, the age, and the condition of the knife have the greatest influence on the value of that knife. And the National Knife Collectors Association, the NKCA, set up a system of grading so that you, the collector, would have a better idea of the value of the knives. And so it goes like this. At the top is mint. Those are the most valuable. And then below that is near mint. Then you have excellent. Then you have a knife in good condition, a knife in fair condition, and a knife that's in poor condition. And so a lot of times, let me just show you this. A lot of times you get a book like this. Okay, it has collector prices in it, and if you look up here, let me see if I can get it in, so you can see this price for a knife is $1,250, $1,250, and that is the mint price. And so that's why you need to understand these grades. A lot of time people are trying to sell knives for a mint price when the knife is only in good condition or excellent condition. In good condition, a knife could be 30-40% less than it is in mint condition. If you're talking about fair condition, you're talking 50 to 60% less. And a knife that's in poor condition, they're basically worthless. So you don't want to be paying mint price for a knife that's in very poor condition, unless there's extenuating circumstances. So obviously a knife from the 1700s, 1710, if it's missing a scale and the blade's really worn, it's still collectible because it's 300 years old. And so that's one of the reasons why you might want to collect a knife or pay more for a knife that's in poor condition. But for all intents and purposes, you want to bear in mind those condition grades when you're buying a knife. And let's see here. So here, I'll do this. So I just want to show you how that works. So this is a Schrade model 808. There's nothing special about this knife. It's a penknife pattern. It's a mini Stockman. Schrade sold these for 30 years, and millions of them were made. So when I decided I collect Schrades, and so I wanted this model in my collection, and so I go on a hunt for one, and they're around $40, and I don't think it's worth it for this knife. I think it should go for around $20. And so, I just kept looking and kept looking. And after about 3 months, I found, one day I found this knife, and it was going for $40. And there was another one that day that sold for $60, and another one that was listed for $100. And so you have the same knife. This one, by the way, is in better shape than any of them. And I bought this knife for $40. So that's the demonstration of your high and low, and how $100 for this knife is just, in my opinion, outrageous. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing really collectible about it. And so you wouldn't want to pay $100 for this knife. And looking at a price list, or just doing what I did, you can go to eBay and look up like this knife is a physician's knife. So look this knife pattern up, and you're going to have hundreds of these knives that range in price from low to high and everything in between. And what that does for you, it gives you a good base to understand what you should be buying the knife for, or what you can sell it for. And so that's a quick, easy way to figure out what your knife is worth, or what you might want to sell it for. And of course, on the high end will be knives that are more scarce, older, a brand like Case or Cattaraugus, something like that, and in very good condition. So at the lower end are going to be knives that are in lower conditions and maybe not a highly collectible name. And so I just, I'm on the internet every day. I look at hundreds of knives a day. I have a very good sense of what knives are worth, what brands are collectible and what aren't. And you should at least get on occasionally and look at the pricing on the knives, and that gives you a good base. So when you're out at a flea market or in an antique shop, you have a decent idea of what a knife, what you should pay for a knife, and that way you can pick out what's a deal and what's not a deal, and what knives to walk away from. An example of that is I was just took a trip, and I saw a couple knives that I liked at a flea market. One of them was $350, and the other one was $244. And both of those knives, even though I wanted to get them, weren't weren't worth more than $100. And I knew that because I'm always on the internet searching and pricing knives. And so, had I paid that for those knives, which they were nice, but they're just way overpriced, and so I just walked away from that. I don't want to pay 2 or 3 times the value of a knife. I'll never get it back out of the knife. Not that I'm gonna sell these. I've already told my wife to throw them in the grave with me so that I could play with them in the afterlife. So I don't plan on selling my knives, but you never know. You might have to at some point. And so I try to get them at the best value I can, and you should too. And so I hope you found the video interesting. Um, if you liked it, go ahead and like it. I'd appreciate that. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. We've got tons of it. And in the background here, we've got a B-17. That's a Spitfire here. Yeah, I love these die-cast planes. That's I think it's called a Hudson Hawker. Hudson Hawker. So anyhow, thanks for watching the video, and I appreciate y'all.